Welcome to another Let's Draw tutorial with Procreate. This is the illustration we'll be completing today. I have provided a colour palette for you and the link to that is in the description below, so please go ahead and download that. There's no brush set today, we're just going to be using a Procreate default brush and that's the dry ink under inking. The canvas size is 2000 by 2300 pixels at 300 dpi. And if you don't already know, I have a Patreon account where I post 3 exclusive Procreate tutorials over there. I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can go ahead and check that out. And with all that said, when you're ready, let's draw. Once you've created your canvas, the first thing we're going to want to do is change our background color. And we can do that by tapping on these 2 squares here. We're going to go over to background color and we're going to select the first color in the first row. We are then going to tap on our colors again and select the second color in the first row. And on layer 1 now, we are going to draw the body of our character. We're going to go over to our brush library and we're going to want to select the dry ink under inking. My brush size here is, I'm going to bring that down to, let's say 10% at full opacity. We're going to go ahead and draw in a circle. We're going to hold our pencil in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly round. And then we can go ahead and drag and drop that colour into the circle. We're going to go over to our arrow tool and with uniform and snapping turned on, we're just going to bring that into the vertical centre. We are then going to go to our wrench icon. We're going to need to be on canvas and we're going to toggle drawing guide. We're going to go to edit drawing guide and we're going to switch this out to symmetry, and you should see by default a vertical line running down the center of your canvas. If for whatever reason you don't, just tap on options here and select vertical from these guide options here and then tap done when you are done. We're then going to go to our magic wand tool. We are going to select liquify and we are going to want it in push mode with pressure set to max, distortion and momentum set to none. And the size I've got here is at about 60%. We're going to want to kind of just adjust the shape of our circle and we're going to kind of make it into a rounded square shape. So let's just bring that bottom in and then we're going to just stretch this top part out and to the side, and then maybe this one at the bottom here. And then just flatten that out. I might make that a little bit more narrow and then a little bit more narrow here at the top. Squish that top end down until we've got something that looks a little bit like this. We're then going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer and we're going to drag this layer 2 underneath layer 1. And with our dry ink brush selected and at 10% at full opacity, we're going to draw in the legs. We're going to draw in a diagonal line. Hold your pen in place to make it snap to the quick shape. And then we're going to draw another one here. And then we're just going to connect that with a slight arc at the bottom. And then we're just going to join up those shapes and closing that off so that we can drag and drop our colour in. We are then going to go to our layers. We are going to slide to the left and duplicate that layer. And we're going to go to our arrow tool and flip horizontal. We're going to drag that over and make sure you see those 3 horizontal lines to show that you are in line with this leg here. And then we can go back to our layers. We're going to tap on that top layer 2 and we're going to merge down. We're going to go back to our arrow tool, make sure you're in uniform and with snapping turned on, we're just going to bring that into the vertical center. We are then going to go back to our layers and we're going to slide to the right with layer 1. So we've got both these layers selected and I'm going to go over to my arrow tool and with uniform and snapping turned on, I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller and then pop them again into the vertical center. We're then going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap on layer 2 and then tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to go to our colors and we're going to select the last color in the top row. And with our brush size still at 10% at full opacity, we're going to go ahead and draw in his horns. So we're going to draw an arc here. Hold your pen in place to snap to the quick shape. We're going to draw the other one here and hold your pen in place to snap to the quick shape. Then we're going to connect these two arcs with a smaller arc at the top. You can hold your pen in place to snap to the quick shape. We're going to close off that shape here, and then we can drag and drop our colour in, and then you can make any adjustments. I'm just going to smooth that edge out just a little bit until you've got something that looks like this. We're then going to go back to our layers, and we're going to slide this layer to the left and duplicate it. We're going to go to our arrow tool, flip horizontal, and again with uniform and snapping turned on, just like what we did with the legs, we're going to move that over to the left and just make sure you see those 3 horizontal blue lines. We are then going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap on this top layer 3 and merge down. We're going to go to our arrow tool. With uniform and snapping turned on again, we're just going to move those into the vertical center, and you should see that orange line running down the middle. We are then going to go back to our layers, and I just actually want to adjust the shape a little bit of the main body. So let's go over to layer 1, and it's still assisted, so we can then go to our magic wand tool. We're going to go to liquefy, and again we're just going to adjust the shape. I just want to bring his head down just a little bit, and then bring the body out at the bottom here just a smidge. And I think I'm actually happy with this kind of shape. And then we're going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to go to the color palette, and we're going to select the 3rd color in the top row. And again, with our dry ink brush selected at 10% at full opacity, we're going to go ahead and draw in an oval. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly horizontal. We are then going to go ahead and drag and drop that colour in. I'm then going to go to my arrow tool, and I'm going to switch it out to freeform, and I'm going to grab this middle node here on the right and just bring that in a little bit, and then pop this into the vertical centre, and I think that sort of position looks about right. Let's go back to our layers and then tap the plus sign for a new layer. We are going to go ahead and switch our colour out back to the 2nd colour in the 1st row. I'm going to bring the size down to say 7%, and I'm going to go ahead and make some leaf shapes for his hair. And then a little one here. And then I'm going to close that shape so that I can drag and drop that colour in. I'm just going to tidy up this little edge here. So if you tap and hold onto your eraser, that will now switch out to the dry ink. And I'm just going to tidy this little edge like so. We are then going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to switch out our colour to the 1st colour in the 1st row. And I'm just going to draw an outline for the fringe. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw in a line here, and then here as well, and then over here. Then we're going to bring that up over here, then here, and then another one here as well. I'm then going to draw in his arms, and that's really simple. We're just going to draw in upside down arcs. So let's just do that on a separate layer in case we need to make any adjustments. So let's tap the plus sign, and we're just going to draw in an arc. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly vertical. We're then going to go back to our layers. We're going to slide to the left and duplicate this one. We're going to go to our arrow tool, and we're going to flip horizontal, and then we're going to drag that over to the left. And you should see those 3 horizontal lines to show you're in line with this arm over here. We're going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap on the top layer 7, and we're going to merge down. We're going to go back to our arrow in uniform, and with snapping turned on, we're just going to bring that into the vertical center. Now we've got the main shapes all drawn out, we're going to go ahead and add his facial features. So we can do that by going back to our layers. We're going to go to layer 4, which is this blue oval here, and we're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to go to our color palette, and we are going to select the 4th color in the top row. We go ahead and draw an arc for his eye. We're then going to go back to our layers. We're going to slide layer 8 to the left and duplicate it. We're going to go to our arrow tool, and we're going to flip horizontal, and we're just going to bring that over to the left and then position it so that you can see those 3 horizontal lines. We're going to go back to our layers. We're going to go to the top layer 8 and we're going to merge down. Go back to our arrow tool, and with uniform and snapping turned on, let's just place that into the vertical center to keep everything nice and neat. Let's go back to our layers. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer, and we're going to go ahead and draw in his mouth. So we're going to draw a horizontal line. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly horizontal. We're just going to draw in a semicircle. Hold your pen in place to make it snap to the quick shape. And you can drag and drop that color in. And you may need to adjust the color drop threshold. So I've got mine set to as far as I can get it, which is about 72%. You can just go in and tidy up the edges if there is a little gap running around the edge. We're then going to go to the layers. We are going to tap on this layer 9 here, and we're going to alpha lock it. And you should see that checkered background now, so we can only draw inside the shape of his mouth. And we're going to switch our color out to this pink here. So that's the 5th color in the top row. And we're going to go ahead and just draw in his tongue, and you can just color that in by hand. Just bring the size up a little bit. And you should have something that looks a bit like this now. Let's just go ahead and remove that symmetry line by tapping on the wrench icon, and we can toggle the drawing guide because we don't really need it anymore. Let's go back to our layers, and we're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. Let's just bring down that brush size to 8%, and we're just going to draw in some ovals for his cheeks. So we start over here on the right hand side and draw in an oval. Hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly horizontal. And then you can drag and drop that color in, and again, adjust the edges if you need to. We're then going to go back to our layers. I'm going to slide this layer 10 to the left and duplicate it. We're going to go to the arrow tool, and we're going to flip horizontal, and we're just going to bring that over, making sure you see those 3 horizontal blue lines. Go to our layers. We can tap on this layer 10 and we can merge down. In fact, we can actually pinch these 3 layers together so that they're sitting on one layer now to save your layer count. And we're going to tap on layer 4. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on layer 9 and we're going to clip and mask it. We are then going to tap on the N and bring that blending mode to multiply, because we're going to go ahead and add in some shadows. We're going to go to our color palette, and we're going to select the 3rd color in the 1st row. And I'm just going to bring the size up now to about 10%. And I'm just going to add in some shadows here underneath his eyelids. Make it a little bit thicker. And then again on this side as well. And then just a little shadow under his cheeks as well. And then a little bit of a shadow underneath his mouth as well. We're then going to add in some shadow underneath the hair, and then over here, a little bit there, and this side too. We're then going to go back to our layers, tap on layer 9, and we can actually merge down. Go back to layer 8, tap on it, and we can merge down as well. So now the face and the shadows are all sitting on one layer, and we're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on it, and we're going to clip and mask it. We're going to tap on the N and change the blending mode to multiply. And then we're just going to add in a shadow here on the side of his face. And then we're just going to close that shape so that we can drag and drop that color in. We are then going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on it, and we're going to clip and mask it as well. We're going to change the blending mode now to add a highlight on the left-hand side. Now, it is going to be quite bright, but we are going to adjust the opacity in just a moment. But let's go ahead and draw that in. So another little arc here, and then we can close that shape too, and then drag and drop that color in. Let's go to our layers, tap on the A, and let's bring that opacity down to, let's say, 15%. Let's go ahead and adjust the opacity to the shadow layer as well. We can do that by going to our layers. Let's tap on layer 8. Let's tap on the M, and let's bring that down to, say, 50%. And I think that looks a little bit better. Let's go back to our layers and we can actually pinch all of those layers together now. We're going to go over to the body layer. So that should be layer 1. And we're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We are going to tap on this layer 8 and we're going to clip and mask it. And we're going to change the blending mode to multiply. Now let's go ahead and choose the correct color. So we need to go to our color palette and we're going to select the second color in the first row. Let's go ahead and add in an arc and then hold your pen in place to snap to the quick shape. And I want something that looks a little bit like this. And then we're going to go ahead and close our shape. And then we can drag and drop our color in. We are then going to go to our layers and tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on this and we are going to clip and mask it. We are going to change the blending mode from normal to add. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're just going to add in a highlight here. Hold your pen in place to snap to the quick shape. And then you can go ahead and close that shape. And then drag and drop that color in. And I don't think I'm going to adjust the opacity on this one. I think that looks about right. But let's go back to our multiply layer because I just want to add a little bit of a shadow underneath his arms. So let's go back to that layer. So it's this layer 8 here. And I'm just going to go ahead very carefully and add in a subtle shadow on the right side of his arms. And then I'm just going to add in a little arc here for his belly. Let's go back to our layers. We are going to go to layer 2, which is his legs, and we're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on layer 10 and we are going to clip and mask it, and we are going to change the blending mode to add. And then we're just going to add in a highlight here and a highlight here as well. Let's go back to our layers and tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on layer 11 and clip and mask it. We're going to tap on the N and select multiply. And I'm just going to bring my brush size up to say, let's say 15%. And we're going to go ahead and add in the shadow underneath his belly and the right side of his legs. This side as well. And now you should have something that looks like this. We are then going to go back to our layers. We are going to tap on layer 3 with his horns and tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on this layer 12 and clip and mask it. We're going to tap on the N, and first of all, we're going to go to add. We're going to go to our color palette and we are going to select the last color in the first row. And I've still got my size here set to 15% at full opacity. We're just going to add in a highlight on this edge of the horn and a highlight on this side. We're then going to go back to our layers. We're going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to tap on it and clip and mask it. We're going to tap on the N and bring that up to multiply. And we are now going to add in the shadow on this side and a shadow on this side too. And I'm actually just going to go back to the body layer because I did forget to add in a little shadow underneath this blue oval here. So let's change our color out back to this white color here. We're going to go back to our layers and it's going to be this layer here with our shadows for our arms and this little bit for his belly. And I'm just going to, with the size set to 15%, just add in a little shadow here on the underside of this blue oval. We're then going to go back to our layers. We are going to tap on layer 2, his legs layer, and tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to drag this layer underneath layer 2, so it's the very bottom layer now. And we're going to switch our color out to the first color in the second row. And I'm going to bring the size of my brush down to about 10%. I'm going to go ahead and draw in an oval. I'm going to hold my pencil in place and tap one finger on the canvas to make it perfectly horizontal. I'm then going to drag and drop that color in, adjusting the color drop threshold, and then filling in any gaps as necessary. I'm then going to go to the arrow tool and I'm going to switch this out to freeform. but you want snapping turned on. And I'm just going to grab this middle node here at the bottom and just flatten it just a little bit. And then I'm just going to position that into the vertical center. Now we're almost done. We just need to make a couple of adjustments for our background. So let's do that by going to our layers. We are going to tap the plus sign for a new layer. We're going to go to our color palette and we are going to select the fourth color in the top row. And I'm just actually going to pinch with 2 fingers just to make the canvas a little bit smaller. And we're going to want rectangle and color fill turned on. I'm just going to draw in a rectangle on the right hand side of our background. And then we can tap the S-shaped ribbon when we're done. I'm then going to go ahead and switch out my color to the second color in the first row. And again, we're going to go to the S-shaped ribbon with rectangle and color fill turned on. And I'm just going to drop in roughly about the same sort of size on the left-hand side, and then tap the S-shaped ribbon when you are done. We're then going to go to our magic wand tool and we're going to select Gaussian blur, and we're going to slide our pencil from left to right until we get to 100%. We are then going to go to our layers. We are going to tap on the end and we're just going to reduce that opacity down to say 40%. Now that's kind of left a bit of a shadow on the right hand side and a little bit of a highlight on the left. And if I pinch with 2 fingers and go full screen with 4, that's today's illustration complete. Thank you so much for following till the end. I hope you had fun drawing this cute little character. If you did and you've completed it, please come and share your designs with me over on Instagram. I'll leave the link to all my socials in the description below, but make sure you tag me in on the image itself so I can see it, and I'll give you a shout out to my stories. Please smash the like button on this video and don't forget to subscribe. It will really help my channel out a lot. And with all that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.